Hello, and welcome everybody to this week's episode of AI Security Ops. We have with us Derek Banks.
Very light crew today. Everybody's either on vacation or doing some other form of work, I think.
Well, today we're going to go through the news stories because it's been a little bit since we talked about the latest news. So let's go over some of the pressing AI related security news stories that we've come across. So, since we last spoke, it looks like there was a pretty cool indirect prompt injection attack discovered for ChatGPT via its new connectors feature, which I guess they're calling AgentFlayer, it looks like, or Flayer. I'm not sure how they want to pronounce that. Basically,
Flayer,
this
like a mind flayer.
like a mind flare. Flare, yeah, I bet that's okay. Yeah, I bet you're right. Mind
Agent
flare.
Flayer, Flayer. Yeah, so for all you Baldur's Gate 3 fans out there, mind flayer.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yep. Nice. I like it. So this looks like this research was presented at Black Hat from some researchers out of Zenity, and this is actually a zero-click prompt injection attack, meaning that the user doesn't really need to interact with it except beyond like one portion of it, which is it sounds like basically what they did is they embedded an instruction within a document, and then if a user goes and takes that document and uploads it to ChatGPT and asks to summarize it, the what's embedded in there, that indirect prompt injection can get executed. And if they have that connectors feature hooked up, which connects to Google Drive, then through a couple steps, it can actually end up searching around through Google Drive material and then exfiltrating data out to another server that's controlled by the threat actor. It's actually pretty cool. They've found that initially it was getting blocked by URL safe filter uh, security measures that they had in place, but they were ultimately able to get around that by just putting up the server within Azure and pointing it to like an Azure blob, which is or sometimes a lot of times allow listed, right? Like,
Oh gosh, that's kind of funny. I'll just
yeah,
use the same infrastructure and get past the bad filters, right? The bad thing filters. It's very interesting though, and that I could send you a document and have a prompt injection in it. Bonus points if that prompt injection's in white text somewhere in the document, right? Or um, and then have an LLM up downstream, leak data to threat actors. I mean, we've been saying since episode 1 here, the more you bolt on to LLMs, the more danger there is at this point in time in the AI security landscape.
yeah, certainly. It's the danger isn't really just the content that LLMs can give you back. I mean, obviously there are some concerns there, but the real danger is like once it's able to start accessing things, once you start hooking it up to other things, that's where you got to be really concerned, right?
Yeah, that reminds me of a conversation we had earlier today about the Warp terminal making changes. Even though it prompts you to make changes when you ask the AI to do something, it can actually make changes on your system to like, your bash profile or something. I'm not ready for that world.
Well, yeah, it's still concerning. I mean, it could kick off a whole series of things, and I mean, it's quite likely that if the change is massive, I mean, if someone's already using the AI to help task accelerate, I mean, what are the chances that they're actually going to spend the time to read through every single line, every single change? I mean, if it's doing stuff for the system, you probably should, but read through it, know what it's
Well,
doing. But
I
I
mean,
mean,
I can definitely think of valid use cases for this kind of attack, right? Like, for example, you could pretend to be from like some kind of like, contracting agent or something like that and send in like an RFP or, some kind of long like document, pretending to be, like a vendor for something. And then, I certainly have taken I've taken documents that are from the wild, so to speak, and just had an AI summarize them. Now, not while that AI is also connected to my data, right?
yes.
But that is an action I have taken. So for anyone thinking, well, the user has to like take the action to, put it in an AI to summarize it. Well, yeah, that's pretty common.
Yep.
So
Oh yeah. Yep. Certainly. Yeah. To be curious to see some of the different safety measures that come out of this as these attacks become more and more prominent. Because you had mentioned about them hiding it with white text, and it sounds like that's actually what they did. Is they put the instructions in block. It was 1 pixel size and was white text. So it'd be cool to see controls being put into place to help kind of clean documents, so to speak. Take out text that is too small or of a certain color or just doesn't match up with everything else, or kind of these like pre-cleaning steps before sending it through the pipeline to do everything
yeah,
else.
that's definitely props for that novel attack. I like that one.
Yeah.
And good on it that it was, I'm not saying it hasn't happened in the wild, but good on it that it was security researchers and not threat actors.
Yeah. Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, that's why why us researchers put this stuff out there, right? Is so
That's why we
we're
do
the
what we
first ones to
do.
find it and hopefully it can get fixed before the bad people do bad things with it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. All right.
All
Should we
right,
move on to the
sweet.
next one here?
Yeah, let's do the next one. That one's, I swear, every time I see something like this, I think of my good friend Mike Felch, man. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. And he went through the process of just removing Google from his life, and yeah.
Well, that and almost, getting, excommunicated from the internet by Google when he started doing calendar injections on a red team after he had disclosed calendar injections to them and they dismissed it as how it works. He's like, oh, I guess I can just use this, right? And then
That's
next
right.
thing you know, he's fishing people through calendar injections and Google got pissy about that.
Yeah, and they said, no, 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 it's a feature. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
suddenly it's made public, and they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, maybe we'll fix that.
Fast forward almost 10 years later, I think it was 8 years ago when he and I think Bo were, released this kind of thing, a similar kind of thing, I think,
Hmm.
where you're weaponizing calendar. So the poisoned Google Calendar invite hijacks Gemini to control a smart home. Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, so this is researchers embedded malicious instructions inside a Google Calendar event, promptware. When the user later asked Gemini to summarize my week, the hidden text executed, controlling lights, opening shutters, turning on a boiler. Where do you live that you have a boiler? I actually had an apartment one time where we had a boiler heat. The thing was like the apartment complex was made in like 1912, so they had like a boiler. And all I remember was it'd be winter, and I lived above a little old lady with blue hair, sweet old lady. But man, she kept her apartment hot. I didn't have to turn my heat on the upstairs apartment. I like had to keep the windows open in the wintertime. People be coming in brushing snow off. I'm sitting there in a tank top and shorts, sweating.
It's so
Turn on a
hot. Yeah.
boiler. Yeah, turning on a boiler sounds terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Initiating calls and leaking data demonstrating physical world impacts from LLM prompt injection. Digital meeting physical is always interesting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So,
But
oh, go ahead. I'm
Google
sorry.
rolled out mitigations
Yes,
after
yeah,
the
I was happy to see that, but yeah, I mean, again, that's the real danger comes in, right? I mean, obviously the aim here is to make people's lives easier. I mean, it's interesting because we're kind of circling back, especially on this one, to concerns that came up when IoT was the real big hot topic and the big craze in cybersecurity. I mean, that was the cool kid thing for a couple of years.
which
I
it
mean,
still should be, I think.
oh yeah, I completely agree. It should still be a focus, but I think that right now everyone's just kind of so hyped up on AI that we forgot about that. Like, hey, we also have the IoT aspect of it that we never really quite figured out. I feel like, and now we're
We
hooking up
just sweep
AI
that
to
under
that
the rug.
as well.
There's
Yeah,
lots of things that we sweep under the rug in
yeah.
information security. We're just like, I'm not going to talk about that because it's terrifying.
Oh yeah, certainly. Or it's almost like the kid, like you have like the one ball and then he just like drops it because he sees the next toy and just like, oh, yep. And then he grabs the next one. It's like, no, no, no. Like we still got that. And now the two are gonna play together. So
I like that analogy. I usually use the kids playing soccer for anyone who's ever had a youth playing soccer. They basically just in a pack, like follow the ball around the field, right? It's like
yeah.
the same kind of thing. Like, ooh, it's a bright, shiny ball. Let's
Yeah,
go
and
find
it's over
it.
there now. Right
Yeah.
over there. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, again, I mean that's just kind of it goes back to what we mentioned even with the last article. It's important to to understand the implications of hooking up these AI systems to things that can actually, in this case, not only access data but also perform real world actions. I mean, this is like the next level of like, okay, not only like have you been able to access sensitive data, like you've been able to like affect change like within the world. I mean, like you made something physically happen within like a person's
Yeah,
house.
let's just say hypothetically, right, that this kind of vulnerability still existed or exists. I'm sure it will in the future too with
Oh
other
yeah.
things. And let's say that we had an entire smart city, right? Like this in the future, and we have this like city of thousands of people, and they all have smart homes, all connected to this LLM type thing where it makes their lives a lot easier. I can walk in and talk to it like Star Trek or what was that show? On sci-fi that they had the smart home. I can't. Eureka, that's what it was. Anyway, so you have this type of thing where you can control things like HVAC units. Well, what would happen if in a hot summer and you had an entire city and simultaneously you got the LLM, you did this to like 2 p.m. on a hot day, 3 p.m. on a hot day, you made everybody's HVAC unit cycle down, cycle up, cycle down, cycle up. Do you know what would happen?
Oh, it could cause. I mean, like it could cause serious harm. Like,
Crash the power grid kind of crap,
oh
right? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
certainly.
we're getting close to that kind of thing. That's terrifying.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that has, I mean, real consequences. I mean, you hear the stories about in areas, especially down in like Phoenix and Texas and stuff, where I mean it gets really hot, and people's air conditioning cuts out, or they have like the power surges or whatever. I mean, that's serious.
I think heat kills more people than cold,
Oh
but
yeah,
hey.
I yeah.
So how do you mitigate this kind of stuff? Restrict assistant permissions. It's like an ongoing theme. Agent
Hmm.
permissions, right?
Yeah.
Require explicit approval for side effectual actions. That's fun to say. Sanitize calendar content. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one's so two in a row where it's kind of like indirect prompt injection leads to bad stuff.
Yeah, yep. It's a difficult one, and honestly, I think that really we one of the things that I think that needs to come out eventually is this idea of the separation of trusted versus untrusted input, and because that right now, as far as I know, is not a solved problem. Basically, right now, the equivalent would be like if with SQL injection, all we did was try to detect and uh, stop it or alert on it without it coming up with a full solution, such as parameterized queries where we're separating trusted from untrusted input. I mean, that's pretty much, I think, the level that we need to eventually get to, but obviously we're just not there.
Well, I mean, it just reminds me of like, back in the early 2000s, intrusion prevention systems and trying to stop stuff on the wire. And like, okay, yeah, I could stop that one thing, but if my signature didn't quite match, I just didn't fix the back end
Hmm.
vulnerability that I was trying to prevent. It's like putting a band-aid on it or a web application firewall or something. Like, sure, you should have those things. You should have prompt guards and sanitized, sanitization filters and stuff on your large language models, but it also doesn't mean that you should not do downstream things that would protect this kind of stuff from happening.
Yes. Yep. Completely agree. All
All
right.
right, let's
We'll
go to
hit
the next one.
hit the next one. We'll just briefly talk about this one. It's not too like not I think anything we can dive into too deeply, but I think it's still worth a mention, which is that within the recent Patch Tuesday from Microsoft, they actually pushed out a patch for a critical Azure OpenAI vulnerability that they found. There's not a whole lot of details that I can find about it in terms of like proof of concept that's out there. They just have all that I could find were just kind of high level details, but it's basically a server side request forgery that could enable unauthenticated access to sensitive AI data through certain means, basically. But yeah, like I said, there's not a lot of proof of concept stuff out there. But I just what I thought was kind of interesting is that that these AI related patches are now start of just the regular what Microsoft is pushing out, which I think is great. That these are real things that real issues that people are paying attention to.
So there's a patch of the in the cloud service. So Azure OpenAI. It's like, so is this an app that's local or is it a cloud service?
I thought it was a cloud
Yeah, it's a
service.
cloud service. So basically, they're patching what's running up in the cloud. I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, server-side request forgery. That should be a hint right there.
Yep.
This morning, I'd blame lack of coffee, but I do think that it is interesting now that AI is an attack surface and is being patched as essentially like a platform or a service.
Yep.
And I think it's further evidence and proof that I don't think this stuff is going anywhere, even if it doesn't get any better moving forward from today, which it will. But I don't think it's a fad.
Yeah.
This whole AI thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. And piggybacking off of that onto the next one, which just kind of goes along with that, it's good to see that as an industry, we're starting to pay a lot more attention to this as being a real issue, this being AI security in general, is that NIST has proposed SP 853, which is control overlays for securing AI systems. But basically, it's just a new standard, security related, that kind of goes along with the NIST, the AI RMF, as well as their adversarial taxonomy. So basically, just trying to put out more controls and standards, because people have been asking about those for a while. Like, hey, well, I mean, what's out there? And the answer for a while has been, well, not a lot. I mean, we've kind of got this hodgepodge of different ideas of what things should look like. But I think it's great to see that we're getting like actual concrete standards that are coming out from these well-trusted organizations.
We were just on a client call where they asked us like about industry standards, and I think our response, I think it was like last week maybe,
Hmm.
well, what the industry standards were, and we're like, there aren't really a whole lot of standards at the moment. So I applaud this because the reason that that kind of question gets asked from a business perspective is, standards and policies are things, those are levers that executives use, right? Like that's how you get your money, that's how decisions are made. And without kind of standards and those executive levers and policy, yeah, I mean, I really think this is a good step forward, and I really like the idea. When I hear overlay, I hear that okay, we know that LLMs have these kinds of issues. We're going to put like some kind of like basically the software that interfaces with the LLM has checklists for how its security is going to be accomplished. That's the way that I read this. And
Hmm.
then it mentions even on step five. So we have what, five steps: generative AI assistants and LLMs. So that's on-prem or third-party, with or without RAG. Predictive AI, which they're talking about training, deploying, and maintaining. So I think that's people who are deploying AI services. Single agent systems, enterprise co-pilots and coding assistants, which what users use, right? Multi-agent systems. Those are, what, email summarizers and things like that. And then finally, the last one, which I really like, controls for developers. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. I think that's great. Yeah, so when customers ask, well, what standard are you adhering to, or like you said, the executives are trying to decide what's going to happen, then we got something to reference. So,
Yeah. I don't know.
yeah,
Like that. I'm interested to see how this plays out.
yeah,
Definitely, as fun as it is, I'm probably not going to go read the whole document, but I will go and grab it, and then I'll probably have AI summarize it for me.
yeah.
Hopefully, there's not indirect prompt injection in there.
Perfect. Cool. All right, set up the next one here. Um, so I think this one is just some statistics that were put out from IBM from a study that they did. They looked at 600 breached organizations and found that AI security, at 13% of organizations reported breaches of AI and model apps. And of those, 97% lacked proper AI access controls. Sh-
Shocking.
they also found that a lot of these were or a portion of these, anyways, were due to shadow AI, which I'm
Also
guessing is
shocking.
what's that?
Also shocking.
Yeah, yeah, shocking, right? Yeah, which I'm guessing they're referring to people setting up or using AI tools outside of policy within the organization, with outside of control from their systems IT. sectors within the organization. So they're just like, oh, hey, we don't have this, so I'm going to go find a solution on my own.
Yeah, it comes from the term shadow IT, right? Which is
Yeah.
that your IT department is so slow and dysfunctional that you have to get your group, your marketing group, accounting, whatever, you have to go find and do your own IT solutions because you can't get help from your IT. I've
Yep.
been at places like that, right? And like in previous lives, as a consultant, I see that, like, shadow IT because well, you're either overworked, you can't get it done, and people need to have solutions. So shadow AI, like a good example would be, is I go out to Notebook LM and use my Notebook LM account, my account, to put all my work crap in it and help me with it because I couldn't get work to give me that kind of solution, right?
Hmm.
So shadow AI
Yeah.
raised breach costs by 670,000 on average. Wow.
Yes. That's
A
that's
lot of
expensive.
thousands.
Probably have been cheaper to find solutions and implement policies that could work for people.
Yeah,
Um,
which
you
is
know,
easier said than done, but
true,
I mean, it's
true.
hard to keep up with this stuff, but I mean, you have to be able to.
Hmm. Yeah, certainly. I think that's a good point. I mean, some of these organizations, if you mentioned the understaffed problem. I mean, if they're that could just be the issue, and they just don't have time to jump on everything that comes out and try to make these solutions easily accessible to their employees. With that said, though, it certainly is important for companies to realize when there is a technology out there that is being heavily adopted by employees or just by the community in general, and those who are looking to use it and can add some real business value to don't try to dissuade people necessarily, but try to find a solution that actually works to make it easy, but also to make it secure.
Yeah, I like this phrase. The AI adoption curve is outpacing controls. I I,
Yes.
I agree with that for
Oh yeah.
sure.
Certain 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this all just kind of jumped on everyone, I would say, within the last few years. So
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, if you look back, a year ago in August, Joff and I were putting the finishing touches on our first AI class. And even since then, like I've learned so much and do things so much differently, and models have gotten so much better just in the course of a year.
oh yeah. Oh, it's insane. Yeah. I mean, even I think 2 years ago maybe is the first time I really started playing around with ChatGPT heavily. And I mean, it was honestly, it was okay. It was okay. So at the time it was mind blowing, but like looking back on it, it was okay. But how far we've come in those couple of years is just incredible.
Oh, I know, right? And just the minimization of hallucinations. And I'm not saying I don't get wrong information, but man, it is not, it's so much better than it used to be.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right, let's hit up the next one here, which is that OpenAI is considering encrypting temporary chats and looking into other privacy cleanups after search indexing scare. I think I remember seeing this headline or reading a little bit about this, where people's chats were somehow getting indexed into the
Well,
to the
this one kind of glanced by me a little bit. Like, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, right? So,
yeah, yeah,
what was it? Shared chats or temporary chats? Like, what exactly was it that was public that
yeah.
people could get access to?
I can't remember what the. Let's see if we can find a little more context on this
Mhm.
real quick. So let's do.
Oh, yeah. So I think that users, like, now that I'm like reading, yeah. So I think, yeah, that people had to make it discoverable, and they've removed that feature. And so I think people were making chats discoverable or making or sharing them,
Mm,
and then in such a
that's
way, like, there was data in there that I guess it was open then, and then, well, it got indexed into Google, as Google is apt to do.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what it was. It looks like they created a shareable link and then basically put that link out to where Google was able to get to it. And obviously, Google's going to Google, and and as any other web crawler, it's not just Google, right? I mean, any other web crawler is going to crawl away and index what they can.
yeah. Well, I
So,
mean, I think it's real common for most applications, even like Teams and stuff. You put a link in there and it goes grabs the thumbnail, and
mhm.
or maybe you put a link into something and AI summarizes the article for you. Like, So yeah, that's really interesting. It's almost like they had a design that got um, taken advantage of without like a threat actor actually doing anything, and then all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of information out there. Ah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. People are like, wait, why is my chat searchable on Google?
well, because I guess, from a user's point of view, I didn't necessarily like, what if I sent it to you as like, here's my chat, and I assumed you had access to it, and then somehow you were the one who put it out like in a way that Google could get to it, and now it's just like, I can see how that could get out of control.
Oh yeah, yeah, certainly. I am curious. So, I mean, they talk about the encryption of it, but I'm curious of how that solves this specific problem. Because I mean, if encryption at rest, encryption at transit, yeah, okay. I mean, like on the disk itself, but if you have the link and you can retrieve the data, then that's kind of an issue. But it sounds like maybe they disabled the sharing feature or whatever the feature was here. Um,
Yeah, okay, I guess that's actually slightly different. It sounds like that they're going to make temporary chats. It sounds like they're trying to make temporary chats more like using the private browser tab, right? Where you won't it won't be saved except if it, forensically they have to go get it maybe and decrypt it in some way. But it says they're considering encryption for temporary chats. Today, temp chats aren't saved to history or used for training, but are retained for up to 30 days for safety and compliance and may be accessible via enterprise compliance APIs. Hmm. Sounds like they're
Interesting.
trying to hide things from the enterprise. I
Yeah,
don't know if I like this or not.
yeah. Oh, I agree. I think the data storage thing in general, I think is interesting of how especially when it comes to talking about logging, because that's something that we've mentioned a little bit before that we don't see or at least hear about a whole lot in the industry, at least yet, of people doing a lot of heavy logging in terms of interactions with the LLMs. And we are seeing the technology starting to exist. It's there are solutions that are out there. So especially on like within like Azure Foundry and Amazon Bedrock, you do have solutions for logging, but then the problem becomes privacy concerns, right? I mean, if you're storing full, conversations from people, especially if you're over in, Europe with GDPR concerns, that becomes an issue in itself, right? Like you want to be able to do a certain level of logging to be able to detect when anomalies are occurring, or to go back and determine when an incident occurred or what was happening during an incident. But you need a way to be able to do that without also having people freak out like, oh hey, like you're reading through all of my stuff. I mean, obviously if these are employees, that's one thing, right? I mean, if you're doing stuff on work environments, that's one thing. But if we're talking about you've got clients who are using an LLM service that you put out there, that's a tough one, right?
Yeah, that's where I kind of like, draw the kind of like the distinction, right? Like when I've definitely made the comment before in an enterprise like setting to an enterprise customer, like I really think that you should log this stuff just to because you're worried about this risk, right? But then if you're like you're saying, if you're gonna have like a public chat bot and anybody can interact with it, like if you're running like a chat GPT like service, then I don't think you can log those things unless you do something like you basically put it out in a privacy statement. Like my free accounts, I'm going to capture all this stuff, but my paid accounts, I'm not like ChatGPT or like OpenAI does.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I
yeah,
think it
yeah,
just all
exactly.
depends on the risk and the purpose, right?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see like a solution come out. I've been thinking like a little bit about this recently of especially after we spoke with a customer recently, about some kind of a solution that where you can retain data but basically remove the kind of the privacy or like the personal content out of it, if you will, like some kind of like a metadata logging solution where you do still get some kind of like logging, and maybe like things like, I don't know, just high level overview of like tokens and different semantics and other things where you wouldn't be able to like reconstruct the original message, but you could at least look for anomalies out of it. Something like that, I think would be kind of cool.
Giving me a 0 to 1 ratio on prompt maliciousness or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. But,
Yeah.
um, all right,
All right.
we
Last
hit up
story.
the
This
last
is
one.
actually my favorite one, I think, maybe, because for if you've stayed with us for this long, 30 minutes in, you're probably a true AI nerd like we are, and this one hits really close to home. This is fake VS Code extension for Cursor leads to a $500,000 crypto theft. So what happened? The developer installed a spoofed Solidity language extension inside the Cursor AI IDE, which executed a malware chain that ultimately led. And by the way, the chain is a Rube Goldberg chain of stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. It's actually kind of impressive.
Oh yeah, you're definitely gonna have to read
Ultimately,
that one off.
yeah, ultimately it led to the theft of roughly $500,000 in cryptocurrency. The extension mimicked the legit Solidity plugin, but provided no real features. It was purely a loader. And so, how many people watching, and I'll raise my hand, have done a pip install of whatever you typed in and as a root on the server? Yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of thing, right? I went to go get a package, and there was a spoof package that was malicious. And who among us takes the time to double check all that stuff?
Yeah, to go to double check the name, double check the hash, and the chain of custody.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so here's what the loader did. The extension.js pulled a PowerShell script from angelic.su, checked, installed Screen Connect. Great, an RMM, like a legit RMM tool
No, yeah.
from from lmfao.su. Then used Screen Connect to drop to Visual Basic scripts that fetched yet another script from paste.ee. That script then pulled an image from archive.org with a steganographic, is that right you say it? Steganographic VM detector loader, which deployed the Quasar rat and the Pure Logic info stealer.
we're gonna need a
You
flow
know,
diagram.
sometimes I think as a pen tester, I don't do things complicated enough because that is
Yeah,
quite the chain of stuff. Like I've certainly used loaders, I've made loaders that are multi-stage. That's a lot.
yeah. That is a lot of stages. It's a whole lot of moving pieces.
And so, more importantly, for us, for people like us who are going to load extensions and things in a development environment where you probably have more privileges than a normal user, how are they fooled? Well, apparently, OpenVSX search ranking appears to weigh recency, not recently, but recency heavily. The malicious extension updated on June the 15th surfaced above the genuine one, which was updated on May 30th. And despite fewer downloads, it was, it appeared to be the legit one. After the takedown, the threat actor, this is great. The threat actor reposted a near duplicate one using the name Solidity and even spoofed the developer name,
Uh,
inflating downloads to make it look popular. Dude,
yeah.
that is cool.
Oh,
I,
bravo! I can only
yeah,
imagine the look of excitement on their face when that chain fully executed, and they're probably in as much disbelief as the rest of us.
man.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's
So
but yeah, I mean that's a tough one, right? I mean it's a lot of people can put a lot of things out there, and time for review of really pulling everything apart. I mean it just doesn't happen on everything. So
I mean, I don't think it ever will, right? Like I've certainly, like I said, like the pip install as root thing. Just I've said that a lot, and it seems like everybody just says that's not something I'm even going to think about right now. I'm just going to bury my head in the sand over here. So,
yeah,
I mean, that's the thing when you do technical stuff. I mean, we like to think as security professionals or maybe even IT professionals that we're a lot harder target than like, Sally from accounting or whatever. But I don't think that that is always true. I think that you just need a slightly different type of ruse. Like, here's your extension you're looking for.
oh yeah.
So what do you do? I mean, do you block third-party registries? Do you not let developers use extensions? Like how? Hmm. That's a
Yeah.
tough one.
Yeah. It certainly depends on the environment and kind of the business model, if you will, of what you've got going on. I mean, if you can, do things like pin versions or basically have your allow list of plugins within the environment. I mean, obviously
Like
that's great.
internal versions, essentially like fork the known good version, put it internal in your own repo.
Yeah,
That'd be
exactly.
good.
I mean, we do that with certainly quite a few things
Oh
ourselves,
yeah, 100%.
because we know that it works and we know that it's not bad.
Yeah.
So that way we're not referencing something that could change at any time, especially when you're referencing things, even just things out on like Git, especially things out on like GitHub and wherever else. It's good to have your own version somewhere that is almost certainly good. Obviously, unless your server your system got compromised, but um, you know, you've
Yeah.
got
This
some
is
some say in that chain of custody there.
another interesting thing. Should EDRs quarantine Screen Connect installs by default unless pre-approved? I mean, maybe. Again, depends on your environment. But look, threat actors use legit RMM tools, right? Some are
Hmm.
more legit than others, like TeamViewer. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, it's a legit product. I don't think EDR should quarantine that. Maybe in your EDR deployment, maybe make EDR vendors could make it easier and be like, hey, what remote access tools do you use? You say I use this one, and then it quarantines all the rest, right? There is a long list. I actually just went through this with Troy over on the SOC CTI side. They basically, our SOC monitors all of our clients, their approved RMM tools, and we look for essentially the not matching set, right?
Hmm.
And so I don't know that you can just flat out like quarantine them, but certainly if in your environment, I would pay very close attention to what your legit support tools are and alert or block on anything that's not your stuff, for
Oh
especially
yeah.
for remote access tools.
Oh yes, especially yeah. Yep. I completely agree.
Wow. Well, I think we made it through all the stories. It only took us 37 minutes
Yep.
and with just a couple of quick, side takes on various things.
Yep. Cool. Well, I think with that, then we'll go ahead and we'll wrap it up for this episode, and stay tuned for the next one, and keep on prompting.